Hello WGSS 325 class. My name is Anasha and my project is on naive women as prey to society. I will mostly be concentrating on the movies Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast and things such as learned behaviors of acquiescence and giving the desirable response, culture, love, stereotypes, gender roles. The predator-prey aspect of relationships and self-imposed ignorance and denial will also be examined. So hope you enjoy, and I hope you learned something. Thanks.
Part of what makes or keeps women naive is a lack of agency, as defined by Witt is the freedom individuals have to choose and act. This lack of freedom to choose or act keeps women controlled, and a controlled woman is often an uneducated one, and I don't mean this in an intellectual sense, but in a societal sense. These controlled women lack the knowledge and wisdom of healthy relationships, both intimate and platonic, how to recognize a predator, or how to identify herself as a victim or prey. The naive woman has an undeveloped or damaged psyche. She is, as Estes states, naive about her own mental process and totally ignorant about the murdering aspect of her own psyche, but is also able to be lured by pleasures of the ego, and that the problem is that ego desires to feel wonderful, but a yen for paradisical, when combined with naivety, makes us not fulfilled, but food for the predator. Society, the predator, has women set up to be food. Through gender roles and stereotypes, women were homebound and subdued. They were taught that their value lay in direct proportion to the value men placed on them. The sense of self, as described by Witt, is our sense of who we are, distinct from others, and shaped by the unique combination of our social interactions. Naive women lack this sense of self, the thought of independence from others. In Disney, this is exemplified most clearly in some of Walt's earliest princess movies, such as Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty, and then again in movies made well after Walt's death, such as The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. The major societal predator in Cinderella is the stepmother, and her obsession with her daughters appearing to be beautiful, to integrate into society and to marry well. Though these hopes and aspirations were not for Cinderella, they were shown to be the desired future. They were her means of escape. She was taught that the goal is to catch a man, preferably a rich and handsome one. To do so, though, you must be beautiful. Cinderella suffered through horrible emotional abuse since she was a small child. She had no concept of the outside world. She was isolated and left solely in the company of her cruel stepmother and stepsisters, and was conditioned to accept that lifestyle was normal, and that abuse was normal. Her instinctual nature to be wary of predators had been abused and shut down. According to Kazina, an abused woman is really into rescue. A generous soul, she may well yearn for a rescuer, but she can't resist running to the rescue of anyone in distress. This is shown directly in the movie by her rescue of the mouse Gus and by her care of the dog Bruno. Also, the prince is her rescuer. He removes her from her stepmother's home. Great, but the prince himself is a predator of sorts. He is a predator of her beauty, since he has no knowledge of Cinderella as a person. Her innocence and ignorance makes her vulnerable to all of the aggressive, assertive, manipulative, and world-wise adults of her life. Kazina also describes an abused woman as a naive romantic. She believes that love, her love, will conquer all. It takes her the longest time to learn that love doesn't excuse her partner from being accountable for his actions. This can be applied to the prince's lack of engagement in the search for Cinderella, to the beast's abusive behavior and treatment of Belle, to Snow White's absentee prince during her trials and tribulations, or even to the Prince Philip's thoughts of his entitlement to dictate Aurora's future. Being taught that marriage is the only option for women, of course Cinderella would jump at the opportunity to marry a prince and escape the drudgery of her life. Societal gender roles place Cinderella as the perfect woman. She cooks, cleans, doesn't question, caters to the whims of others, and is obedient and docile. Cinderella, naive woman that she is too easily lured with promises of ease, of lilting enjoyment, of various pleasures, be they promises of elevated status in the eyes of her family, her peers, or promises of increased security, eternal love, or hot sex. The prince's obsession with her shows society's pressure to be beautiful. It is the one aspect of Cinderella that he encountered and became infatuated with. Cinderella's acceptance without question of the prince's summons and proposal of marriage is reflective of her learned behavior of acquiescence and the abuse her instinctual self suffered. Her naivety is further reflected in her not knowing that the man she danced with was the prince, but still she enjoyed his company and danced the night away with him. I wonder if her quest for time at the ball was more a quest for positive human contact than to actually catch a prince. Social inequality, as defined by Witt, is a condition in which members of society have differing amounts of wealth, power, and prestige. And the social inequality between Cinderella and her prince puts leagues of distance between them, making it highly doubtful that she truly thought she had a chance. Gender roles help to keep the naive woman naive. The traits that are associated with masculinity make macho men believe violence is manly, danger is exciting, and sexuality is to be pursued callously. Carol continues with, "It is not easy for men to live up to the strong social demands of being male in a changing society." By stating that femininity is defined by being the opposite of masculinity, Carol shows society's beliefs about men and women. She also goes on to show the example of that societal belief when she says, "The idea of femininity itself is an attempt to mold women in ways that are determined by men. For example, the pressure on women to stay thin, to try to appear younger than they are, and to try to appear as beautiful as possible can be seen as reflections of male power. Naive women cling to the comfort of conformity and socially accepted behaviors and thought patterns." Belle in Beauty and the Beast is another fabulous example of society the predator. In the context of this movie, as relates to real life, is what I refer to as the cage of masculinity. In this cage is the complex gender role of masculinity, or what does it mean to be a man? To be a man means to basically be a predator. Society and common culture has conditioned and preyed on men. The male revolution is a topic for another day, though, in the sense that there are very specific characteristics and guidelines regarding masculinity, manliness, and what being a man actually means. Eleniak states that from the psychological perspective of masculinity, that man and his image are a product of masculinity representing a construct, a whole set of social ideas, attitudes, and beliefs as to what a man is supposed to be like, what qualities are attributed to him. Connell further goes on to explain that for a man to be at the top of the social hierarchy or pyramid, he must emphasize masculine dominance over women and subordinate or submissive men. To be a man, he must engage in particular behaviors. A man must engage in the cult of physical strength and possess an inclination towards violence, a lack of emotional expressiveness, and a high level of competitiveness. The two male leads in this movie, to differing degrees, fit the model of masculinity. Gaston is an example of hypermasculinity. He strives to be, and believes himself to be, at the top of the social hierarchy. He believes in his divine right to exert authority over others, such as Belle, LeFou, the men at the tavern, and even the townsfolk. He believes that Belle should be flattered with and appreciative of his attention. This level of conceit is repugnant to Belle, as is his misogynistic attitude towards women and intelligence. He believes that Belle should be happy conforming to the societal gender roles regarding women. She should be a wife and a mother, in relation to him. He is a true predator, in the fact that he is engaging in the hunt, the chase, and forcing his unwanted attention onto Belle, when there are other readily available and willing women. He is man. He wants it all, and it should be his just for the asking. He is entitled to it. Society the predator says so. Belle hasn't had a lot, if any, mothering or nurturing. She wasn't exposed to healthy relationships. Due to his kindness to his servants, Belle believes that there is a good heart inside this hideous beast, this creature that threw her father out and has completely isolated her. Estes outlines the situation perfectly when she discusses naive women and learned behavior. This acquiescence to marrying the monster is actually decided when girls are very young, usually before 5 years of age. They are taught to not see, and instead to make pretty all manner of grotesqueries, whether they are lovely or not. This training to be nice causes women to override their intuitions. In that sense, they are actually purposefully taught to submit to the predator, states Estes. Naive women prey to society. Belle thinks that making nice and befriending the beast will change him. It will bring out a princely side, and underneath the abusive exterior is a good person. Giroux and Pollock explain the situation well by stating, Belle's reformation of the beast implies that women are responsible for controlling male anger and violence. If a woman is only pretty and sweet enough, she can transform an abusive man into a prince, forever. Cassina has something to add when she states, she doesn't know when to walk away. She has little or no idea of boundaries. She has little instinct for self-protection or self-preservation. Her best strategy is often to hope that others will do right by her. The strategy causes frequent, painful disappointment. She believes in gender stereotypes. Men are the strong, powerful ones. Women can't manage on their own. Women need a man to complete them and to manage the challenging areas of life. Society has set up and perpetuated these gender stereotypes. Society has demanded through the ages that women remain naive, especially to their own powers, value, sexuality, and intelligence. The naive woman is just how society wants her. In society, this predator is a product of the people. Society preys on those that often engage in acquiescent and socially desirable behaviors. And the image management technique used to save face, behaving in a socially desirable way, is explained as giving into conformity and by acting in a non-resistant manner. Ross and Murawski state that giving an acquiescent answer and acting in the socially desirable or acceptable way may be a learned adaptive strategy. Furthermore, Ross and Murawski believe that the people who often engage in these behaviors are powerless people and people not fully amalgamated into society and the dominant culture. The naive woman is taught that she is powerless. She is taught to be a victim. She is taught to be prey. These naive women can be taught to reclaim their instinctual power. Disney may one day discontinue the perpetuation of the naive woman. These children's movies may one day give girls and women their power back. Hopefully this day is soon in coming. The naive woman is a dangerous thing. She loves the beast, she acquiesces to the predator, she continues to be a victim, and she teaches that naivety has rewards of its own. To be innocent is not to be naive. It is to hold a pureness in your heart. And to be worldly is not to be cynical. It is to be aware. The naive woman is prey to society due to her lack of awareness. Let us teach. Let us learn. Let us awaken so that we are not naive to the beast of society, so that we do not feed the predator.